Hi everybody, it's Lene. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel today. Listen, I have another paper bag video for you today, and this one we're going to be using one pharmacy bag. I'm choosing a white one from Walgreens. This one's going to be measuring at just under 4.5 inches and then just close to 10 inches. You know, these things are never exactly precise, that's why we cut them down a little bit. But you could also use this one, a brown, like a craft brown one. It doesn't really matter the color as long as the paper that you're using complements the bag color, because we are going to be using a little bit of this white border on our bag. I'm also going to be using scraps today because this is a little embarrassing. I work for a paper company. That's my day job, okay? And every Friday, I think about what paper I'm going to be using over the weekend to be making a video for you on Monday. But I forgot to restock one of my favorite 6x6 paper packs. It's called Picket Fence, and all I have at home are these little scraps. This is how I contain my scraps, just in these plastic folders. You can get these at office supply stores. They're for 12x12 papers. So this is what I have. I have the Picket Fence 12x12 paper toll. And if you've never seen or heard of paper toll before, they make little 3D embellishments. And I really love this one. It's a lot of purple and burgundy, and they have a little bit of a metallic look to them, and they just punch right out, all right? And then you layer them with foam tape. So we're gonna use one of these on the cover, but then that just leaves me with not a lot of paper. In fact, I don't even have the little cover piece to show you what that looks like, but it's called Picket Fence, and I'll put the link down below. So yeah, we're using scraps today. We all have scraps, right? So that's what the theme of today's video is, paper bag with scraps. So what we're going to do with this bag, we're going to fold it in half. Well, first we're going to cut off this end and probably this end, and then we're going to fold it in half, and we're going to make a really simple, quick and easy gift that you would be proud to give to a friend. And also, I dug deep into my craft supplies. Do you remember these? These Fiskar pattern scissors. The only ones I kept over the years are the scallop and the mini scallop. Okay, I still love using these. I think they're great, and we're going to use these today. So let's start by trimming this bag down. And I'm going to trim it with the scallops. Let's actually fold it first. We're going to fold it. Yeah, we're going to fold it. We're going to fold it like this. Okay. And I want to fold it so that when I cut this part off with the scallop, there's a nice even number. We're going to cut it to, gosh, 4 inches. Let's cut it to 4 inches. Find a pencil, Lene. Okay. And there's a reason for this. Trust me. Okay, 4 inches. And the reason I'm doing this is because I want a nice straight line when I'm cutting my scallops. And the reason I'm putting these two the paper bag ends together is I'm going to cut through both of them because I want my scallops to line up. Yeah, I'm that person. So we're going to, wow, I haven't used these in a long time. There we go. They're squeaky. There we go. Now, if you've never used these before, you can still find them online. You can also find them in thrift stores. And people like me got rid of a lot of their pattern scissors years ago. How old are these, you guys? These are like 15 years? 20 years? I don't even know. All right, so we're cutting that off. So now this is going to measure 4 inches wide this way and 4.5 inches tall. All right, and then it's going to have this cute little scalloped edge. I love that. All right, and we're going to ink that edge so the pencil line will disappear. So the next thing we're going to do is find what scraps of paper here. Well, maybe the first thing we're going to do is which one of these paper toll are we going to use? Now this one is super cute. This little label shape with the butterfly. To put that on the front, that would fit so nicely. Let's punch this out. just like that. That would be so cute. But this picket fence, also adorable. You get like 3 little focals here for each, on each sheet. Which one are we thinking? I like the picket fence. All right, all the beautiful flowers. So let's see, I really like, what if we did this dark one right there? Look at the colors on this. So it's dark brown wood, and then it's got these beautiful flowers in burgundy and purple. It's the same flowers that are here. Beautiful. On the back, it's got this nice sort of pinky color. This one's got all these little, like little postage stamps with the polka dot, lavender, like script with the white. What else? Oh, here we go. This one's so pretty with the same burgundy flowers, burgundy background, green with the script pattern on it. And then I've got a scrap of this stripe one, and then the dark brown. And I know there's another one. Oh yeah, here's a scrap of this one with this same motif on it, and then the burgundy in the background. And those are all the papers, scraps and all. All right, so yeah, I think so cute to use this one. And then just leaving a little bit of an edge there. That would be really cute. And then we could ink the edges. Let's do that first. So I'm going to use a little bit of cocoa bean and just an applicator. And I'm just going to put them on those scallops, because I think you'll notice once we ink them, they're going to show up a lot better. There we go. Really cute. And then we'll just do that one. Ooh, got a weird cut right there. And then we'll do the reverse side too. And a little bit around the edges here. All right, so while I finish up my inking, I'm gonna cut down some paper for the front and back covers, and then we'll talk about what's gonna go on the inside of this. All right, here are some measurements. So my pharmacy bag, decided that was 4.5 inches by 9 3/4. Then we're going to fold it in half, and we're cutting it down to, of course, the 4.5 inches wide by 4 inches long. That's with the fold. And then our cover paper and inside paper is 4 3/8 of an inch by 3 7/8 of an inch. And that's what this looks like. Just a little paste. This is why this is so great for scraps, okay? You do not have to use 6 by 6. You could use 12 by 12 paper. There's scraps that you have. What do they call these? Scrap busters? All right. And then on the back, same thing. This one, choosing this dark brown just because I didn't have any more that was wide enough of that cute floral print. All right, there we go. Now on the inside, I did the same thing, and I just used that cute little one with the little stamps on it. So sweet. All right, don't worry about this right here. It's gonna get covered up. Now, what about these gussets, okay, that are on here for this bag? We are not going to be using those. So let's just close them. And I'm just using my favorite glue, Cosmic Shimmer Specialist Acrylic Glue. It dries clear, and I love that it's a specialized paper glue, but use what you have. Use your favorite glue. All right. There we go. Now, I have all these little pieces, of course, to add to my scrap pile. We're going to use some of these to make some tags. Now, the next thing we're going to do is do a little pocket. Now, they don't have to match because we don't have a lot of paper left to match. All right, on the other side of this, I tore that paper before. Maybe we'll tear it again. So we could just make cute little torn pockets. That would be really cute. Or we could use, let's see, what else have we got, Lene, to use? I don't know, I really like the dot paper that's on the back of this one. I really like this one, but I don't have enough. What if we cut this one down? Let's see how wide this is. All right, this one is like 3 1/8. So yeah, what if we did, what if we just cut this one in half and then used it for the pocket? One side would have this cute little floral motif that's going to match the thing on the front, and then the other half would not. So I think that would be great. So I'm going to get the measurement on this and I'll cut it down. All right, for our pockets, 3 7/8 inch wide, the same width as this paper, and then 1 1/2 inches wide, which seems like a tiny little pocket, but in perspective, this is only 4 3/8 of an inch tall. So it's going to look like that. Now remember, this was just part of this. And so I cut this in half, and then if I flip this one over, it just kind of looks like they go together. The other thing I want to do is I'm going to put a little notch in here. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know I like taking circle punches like this one. This is 1 1/2 inch wide, EK Success. It stores flat. Circle punch. You can get this in my Amazon storefront down below the video. And I only really use 3 sizes. I've used the 2 inch, the 1 1/2 inch. I don't remember what the other one is. I think it's a 2 1/2 inch. All right, so we're only using about 1/3 of the circle, and we're having about the same amount of space on each side. And I'm holding these together because then I only have to punch once. Whoop, like that. And I've already inked the edges of these, so now I'm just going to put a little ink here. And the reason I like to put a little notch in these is because then I think it just looks more like a pocket instead of just a cute border on your paper. Okay, whoops, wrong side, Lene. We're going to do it like that. And then for our paper, we're going to be making this little journal, this little notebook. I'm just going to use regular copy paper, printer paper. Okay, and I'm going to cut that down, fold and cut down so you know exactly what size will work in here. Okay, there we go, our cute little pockets. And then we'll be making some cute little tags to go into these little pockets. They're also a great little spot for a gift card, little notes for a friend. All right, so how are we doing so far? We have plenty of room in here. We know what we're going to do on the front of this once we get our layers on. It's looking good. I'm cutting down my papers so they fit nicely inside this little notebook. So let's do that. Let's start off with a sheet of 8 1/2 by 11 copy paper, printer paper, whatever you want to call it, folded in half. All right. And now I'm going to cut with the fold at the top. Well, actually, it doesn't matter where you put the fold. It's going to be, we're going to cut at 4 1/4. Okay. And then this should already be at 4 1/4 because it's 8 1/2 inches wide. Okay. 4 1/4, 4 1/4, 8 1/2. So there you go. And then we're going to take both of these, hold them together, and then we're going to cut both of these down. This is where you want to have the fold on the right side. And we're going to cut these down to 3 7/8. So they're just slightly smaller than this 4 inch wide little notebook. And I like to do these 2 at a time. It goes much faster. All right, so I did a total of 10 pieces of paper. Okay, so for the pages, 4 1/4 by 3 7/8, and I did 10 of those. All right, so that's going to give you 40 pages because each one of these little signatures is 4 pages times 10. Didn't know you were going to be doing math with Lene today. All right, so I'm going to sandwich these all together. Okay, and what I mean, if you're not done this before, what I mean by sandwiches, you're going to open this up and you're going to put all of them fold side nested together, just like that. Okay. Now, there are many different ways that you could bind this. You could take a length of ribbon and wrap it around here and just tie a bow on the outside. That would be very easy to do, and plus you could refill it very easily. The other thing you could do is you could do a little pamphlet stitch if you liked to do that. But if you're a beginner, maybe you want to do something that's even more simple. So I have a little swivel stapler that I absolutely love. I bought this on Amazon at the time. Last year it was $7. So it's gonna be a little bit more, I'm sure now. Last time I checked, I think it was $8, and it's in my Amazon storefront, so you can check this out. I use this a ton, okay? It's such a time saver. If you want to use a regular size stapler, okay, then this one is just a little bit too short. It's about 1/4 of an inch too short to reach in to what we're doing here. Okay, it's really, it's just a little short. So you could just trim a little bit of your notebook down, and then it would fit a standard size stapler. I just wanted to utilize as much width as I could, so you could absolutely do that. All right, so the other thing we can do is we can like clamp these down so it's a little bit easier to put the staple right here. And then the other thing we're going to do is do our little tags and a closure. We have so much more to do. I'll be right back. All right, I've got my cute little clamps. These are from the Dollar Tree. You get 4 of them for $1.25. Best deal ever. Use them all the time. And so what we're going to do is just make sure our pages, like the folds, are lining up right there, and that you have some space at the top and the bottom. And we're just going to put these right here to hold things in place. The other thing I like to remind people to do is when you're stapling, you don't want to staple the pokey side of the staple on the outside, because it can get caught on things if you're pulling it in and out of your purse, or you get caught on a sweater. So put those pokey ends inside. So that means we have to staple the front cover. And then how this works is you're just going to turn this just like this. So now that little staple part just goes like that. It's genius. Okay, so I'm going to go in about 1 inch, and I'm stapling right next to the fold. These things are a little tricky as far as getting that lined up. Just like that. And then those are on the inside. About the same, about 1 inch on this side. There we go. Woo! Come on, let me finish. There we go. All right, so simple, right? So if you're mass producing these for gifts, for Christmas, or for doing a little sale or something, Christmas bazaar, spring bazaar, invest in one of those little staplers. That'll save you a ton of time. All right, so that's what we've got so far here. Let's work on the little cover with this. So cute. Oh, wait, before we do that, we need to do a little binding. And I was going to take one of these little scraps, just like something like this, that wraps around like this, but it has to be pretty thin because I don't want to get in the way of this. And we're just going to do like a little easy like Velcro binding, okay? I mean, it probably doesn't need a binding at all, but yeah, because it flops open like that. What do you guys think? Would you do a binding? I'm not a binding, a closure, Lenny, a closure. So, let's put this together first, because then we'll know how much room we have for said closure. So we already went ahead and punched out the first layer. Here's the second layer. These are so fun to use. And they really make an amazing embellishment for your little book. Here's the third. Just something a little different. Okay. And then there's also some little extra artwork pieces here that we could also use, but we're going to start with this. This also punches out. Look at that. Okay. So we're going to take little pieces of foam tape. Where are my little scissors? Here they are. Believe it or not, this giant wheel of foam tape, it's actually a very tiny wheel, started out as a wheel of foam tape like this big, and I got it at Paper Wishes, and it's about 20 bucks, but it's 150 feet, continuous feet of foam tape. And this is how much I have left, so I need to restock. I'll link that down below in the Paper Wishes stuff if you guys are interested. When I'm doing any kind of 3D like decoupage or 3D toll or anything like that, I like to try to cut off the little knobby, nibby things that are on there, because otherwise your stuff just looks kind of fuzzy along the edges. Do you guys do that? Do you like take off those nibs? All right, so we're gonna put this right there. That's so cute. And then this cute little guy, you can also just use your fingernail. They scrape right off. And I'm just gonna take another little piece, but on this one, we're actually gonna cut it in half and do 2 layers of foam tape, and here's why. This little picket fence already has 1 layer, so if I put this on with 1 layer of foam tape, it's just gonna be the same height as the picket fence. And I want it to be a little higher. So we're gonna do 2 layers of foam tape. And if you're new to foam tape, it's wonderful stuff. I use it all the time. Okay, so now that layer is a little bit higher than this layer. All right, so these I'm just gonna go ahead and put foam tape quickly on all of these because I don't think that's very exciting to sit here and watch me put foam tape on things. If it is exciting, let me know. All right, so here is the next layer. And all you do is, I just find something to line up. So like this bottom edge, or this leaf edge, we're just gonna line that up, and you put that one there. And my thought is that, you know, I try to make all of the things I make on my channel that are gifts in mind. Like you'd be making this for someone and giving it to a friend, a birthday gift, a Christmas gift. And so it's June, and I want to know, are you guys starting about making your Christmas gifts? Because I am. And I'll do Christmas in July with Christmas papers, but typically I don't gift Christmas, the things for Christmas that have a Christmas paper on them. Do you? Because then I feel like they only use them at Christmas, unless it's like a decoration. What do you guys do about your Christmas themed papers and things? How do you use them? All right, so that's how that looks with all that little foam tape on there. I think that's so fun. All right, so now we're gonna cut down some paper for a little closure. Which one shall we use? Maybe this little purple. Would that be cute to put the purple there? I think it would. So let's cut this one down. And I just want it to be like a 1/2 inch wide, really small, like that. Probably not the torn end, just like right like that, and probably then a full inch. So like 1/2 inch by, let's do 1 1/4, just to make sure we have enough. Oh, let's do 1 1/2. So 1/2 inch by 1 1/2 inch. Yeah. So let's write that down. Closure. So 1/2 inch by 1 1/2 inch. Ooh. Okay. So that's gonna go like that, and then we can just glue the other half around. And then I've got these tiny little Velcro dots. Okay, I got these on Amazon, so you can get them at my Amazon store. And then, you know, there's like a fuzzy end, and then there's like a little prickly end. Where'd all of my fuzzy ends go? All right, so we're just gonna take one of these. We're gonna put that right here. It's about, oops, let's move it over a little bit, about the middle. And then this side, we're gonna glue here to the back, like this. So we can just go right around. And then on this side, we have to put the little other end. all feel like the little, hold on, I gotta make sure I've got the right ends. I was right, they were all the little fuzzy ends and I needed the prickly end. So here's the little prickly end and I just set it right over the fuzzy end, okay? And it's self-adhesive. So we're gonna go around and we're just gonna put that on there just like that, okay? So that when you open it, they're aligned. Now, this doesn't look very pretty, so let's take one of these little pieces of artwork, like one of these little flowers. Get those little tabs off there. Put a little bit of glue right here and put that right there. So when that dries, that'll be really cute. And then let's put one on the back just because we can. That could go right there. There. All right. Then I think just because we need to add more cuteness, I have my gingham ribbon set. Some lavender I think would be really cute. This is from Paper Wishes. I get this whole lovely set of all these different colors. So you can find the link in the Paper Wishes supplies below the video. Just like that. I'm gonna trim this. I'm always telling you guys, do not cut your paper scissors with fabric or ribbon, and I do it every time. Okay, so that can get glued right there. Now I can use hot glue, Cosmic Shimmer glue will also glue that, but I also have this big thing of Zots that I do as like temporary gluing. And they're just adhesive dots. There. That's cute overload, right? All right, so when we come back next time, our last thing is we need to make stuff that's gonna go in our cute little pockets for the paper bag. Remember, this was a paper bag, so that's why we wanted to use a paper bag, is to have these cute little pockets and then something to go right here. My desk just keeps getting messier and messier. So let's start off by, remember these little labels that were in the toll, this one, let's break these layers down. You don't need to use them all on one 3D element. So here's the base layer. I just put it on the back of a little bit of paper. This is 3.5 by 3.5 inch square. And you could write a little message on the back of this. I wouldn't foam tape things that are going in these little pockets of the paper bag just because they'll catch on things, but you could put that right in there. That's so cute. You could also share photos and other things like that in these little pockets. And then I've also got, for special little gift cards, this is an Amazon card. I have these little vellum envelopes that I got on well, on Amazon. So they're also in my Amazon store listed down below. You could take the other two layers. So here's the other base layer of this label and then the butterfly, and I foam taped that right there. You can put that just like this. Now we can glue or we can foam tape that. And I'm inclined to just add a little bit of glue so that we don't have too much bulk in the inside of our book. Now I'm going to put a little bit of glue right here, and then I'm going to put a little bit of glue at the top, and I'm doing it that way so that I don't get glue down here and then get it stuck to this part. So it's a sort of a controlled way of making sure you don't glue something shut when you don't want to. See, there we go. I forgot to turn my camera back on. So right here I have some We're Together Dazzle stickers, and these come in a collection with different colors: brown, silver, white, black. These are the brown ones. I like to use a little pokey tool, and then I'm just pulling this up like this, and we're just going to set that down. And then when you just sort of burnish it with your finger, they will just stay right on there. And there's little pieces there I need to get out. There we go. All right, so this can go right here on the inside. And then if you want to, you could also put another little Velcro dot right there, but I think it'll stay closed just fine. On the other pocket, you could put another gift card, another note, but let's make a little tag that we can add. So I love my tag punch. You guys have seen this many times on my videos. It makes 2.5, 2, and 1.5 inch wide tags, and I like to layer them, okay? You can get this in the Amazon storefront down below, and it's very, very sturdy. I use it like crazy. I've had it for a couple of years, and it's never failed me. So I'm gonna start off with a strip here of 2.5 inch wide paper, and then you just punch, and then it leaves a little scalloped edge with the little hole for hanging. So cute. So then let's do another one. I like to do vellum. This is vellum dot paper, and it comes in an 8.5 by 11 sheet from Paper Wishes. And when you're punching vellum, it's a good idea to put some scrap paper behind it because it can tear. So this one, I'm just gonna put that, oops, it's a little too thick. Did I measure my vellum correctly? This is 2 inches wide, yes. Let's just go ahead and stick one of these in here and we'll hope for the best. It's not quite 2.5 inches wide. There we go. Oops, get it in there even, Lene. Oh good, it worked fine. There's another layer. And then this one is 1.5 inches wide, something dark. And then we can layer them, but we need to cut them down. All right, so this one, let's measure this one to like 3.5 inches because we don't want it to stick outside of our little book. So I'm gonna mark this 3.5 inches. I'm actually gonna take those little scallop scissors again and trim this down. Where was my mark? Oops. These are getting, there we go, they were getting caught. And then, I don't know if I mentioned this before, when you cut again, you want to line up the scallop and then cut again. So it has that cute little scalloped edge. And then once again, we're gonna like just ink the edge of that so it shows up. All right, and then the vellum, can layer that right there. With the vellum, let's tear that because vellum tears so nicely. I like to do a little bit of a chunky tear so that you can really see that it's torn. Sometimes if you use a ruler, you do something else, it's so straight and so fine, it just looks like you cut it. Let's see, oh yeah, this one. Okay. And this one I'm going to use these scissors on again. And I'm just going to go right like that. Okay, so super cute. I love it. All right, so for this one, instead of threading a ribbon through here, I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, which appears to be a little bit clogged there. And we're just going to do a little bit right there and a little bit right like that. Like, ooh, that's too much. That's got away from me. And like this, so cute. We can take our little flower, that's adorable. I think let's add a little foam tape to that one, just to give it a little bit of a rise. Okay, super cute right there. And then let's do a little bit of that purple ribbon, or lavender ribbon. And now, when I tie my ribbons, they're never done. You have to just kind of finesse them. Tie them. There you go. Trim at an angle so they don't come unraveled. We're going to put that just below that little punch, hole punch. Putting another little zot on there. There we go. And then I want to put like a little word here. So let's reach, Lene. See if we can grab, here we go. Here's the white version of the We're Together Dazzles. We already did hugs there, so let's do hello friend. And I love using these because they're pretty generic. They're nice for family and friends. And I like to keep these projects pretty generic because I like to give these away to my subscriber friends. Every week we make a project together, and then at the very end I tell you that I'm going to give it away because I don't want it. I have too many projects in my house, and I would really like somebody else who wants it to enjoy it. So all you have to do to participate in this is like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Let's see, before I finish talking, see how that just sticks over the top like that for layering? Pretty cute. There we go, we're all done. So yeah, to participate in my giveaway, all you have to do is like, comment, and subscribe. Then here's the key, here's the kicker, here's the catch. You have to watch next week's video to see who the winner is, and it'll come as a pop-up. You may have seen one in this week's video. That was the winner for last week. So see how that works? You watch this week's video, then you gotta watch next week's video. It helps my channel grow, and somebody wins a prize. It's a win-win. It would also be great, you guys, if you would follow me on my other social media accounts, Facebook and Instagram. I do original videos there a couple times a month. I also do thrifting videos. I also do sneak peeks of what paper packs I'm going to be using. We have a whole lot of fun over on those other platforms. And if you want to participate in making a shipping donation, because I do like to make these free giveaways to the winners. If you want to contribute to my channel, there's a super thanks down below the video, and there's also buy me a cup of coffee. I 100% use that money for shipping charges. Thanks so much for joining me today, you guys. I'll see you in the next one.